Hi ladies, this is the first part of my series on how to put an awesome manicure on, and this is the preparation of your fingernails. First step you want to do is take care of those cuticles. Your cuticles are oil producing things, and as we know, jams do not stay on fingernails when there's oil. Oil actually takes them off. So let's push them puppies back. I use this Sally Hansen Instant Cuticle Remover. This stuff is awesome. You do not need to get this if you don't want. However, it was just a couple dollars at CVS. I'm sure you can buy it at Target or Walmart, those types of places. It is a gel. You just put that on your cuticle, just a thin little layer. And you just rub it in and let it set for 15 seconds. Sometimes our nails can get an invisible cuticle. Sometimes it can go clear down here on the nail bed. You can't feel it, you can't see it, and it really will prevent your jam from sticking. So I found this stuff really helpful, and I suggest it, but again, you don't have to. So after 15 seconds are over, you want to push those puppies back. You can use any kind of cuticles. I have a rubber one here. I have an orange stick, and then I have a metal one. I prefer the metal one. It's just what I'm used to working with my cuticles. It's pretty awesome. So you just want to firmly but gently push back those cuticles like so. You don't want to do too hard, or else you're going to take off the top layer or so of your fingernail, and you don't want to do that. So just push it back ever so gently. Once that's done, I'm going to go on to the next finger and so forth. After all my cuticles are pushed back, I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to wash them. I'll have Blue Dawn soap here. I like the Blue Dawn soap because it is a anti-grease. Dawn dish soap helps cut grease and oil, so I want the best soap to get the most oil off my hands and especially my fingernails. So I wash my hands after my cuticles are pushed back. Then I'm going to come back, and then I'm actually going to shape my fingernails to the shape that I want them. So just whatever shape that you want your fingernail, square, kind of rounded. My fingernails are pretty short right now because I broke my thumb, so I had to cut them off. So just shape your fingernail however you want it. And then what I like to do is give my fingernails a nice light buff. So I have my buffer block here, and I'm just going to give my nail a nice buff. Especially I like to buff the tips of my nails a little bit because sometimes I do have an occasional lifting at the tip, and I just think it helps keep the jam to stay there. So after a light buff, I am going to excuse me, wipe my nail beds with alcohol. Most important step, I think, is wiping your nails with alcohol during the preparation. I did not do this during my first application, and my jams literally fell off after 3 days. It was horrible, horrible. So I use a bottle of alcohol and a cotton ball most of the time, but I just have these little squares. So you can use anything. You really don't want to use nail polish remover because unless it's a 100% acetone, due to a lot of nail polish removers have lotion in them. So open that up, little alcohol swab, and just really clean your nail bed with the alcohol. Now I wipe my nail beds twice with alcohol, once now, and then I do it directly before putting on a manicure, and I will show you that in a next video. So prepping your nails, the first thing you want to do is take care of your cuticles. The second thing you want to do, wash your hands. The next thing you want to do, shape them up, then buff them, and then alcohol them. So it's a little bit of a process, but once you get used to it, it will take just 5 minutes to prep your fingernails. And I hope this video is helpful, stay tuned for video 2, the actual application. All right, ladies, this part of the video is how to actually apply your Jamberry. So you've already prepped them, you push back your cuticles, you've washed your hands, you shaped your nails, you buffed them, and then you wipe them off with alcohol. That's an awesome preparation. So now we're ready to apply our Jamberries. Things I'm going to use are little scissors to cut the Jamberry in half, nail clippers, my same nail file, buffer, the alcohol, tweezers, and a cuticle pusher, but it's a rubber tip cuticle pusher to help apply pressure. This is my little sample of a Jamberry. I already used half of it. It's probably because I messed up my first video. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the other half to reapply or to show you the correct method of application. I may have skipped a method in my earlier video, so I'm redoing it, and this one will be awesome. All right, so preparation is done. Now the most, what you need to do now is measure your jams to your fingers. When you get your sheet, they will be different size Jamberries. You want to pick the correct Jamberry size for the fingernail. What's great about these new sheets of Jamberries, they are actually on clear backings. That way you can take up your sheet and measure your Jamberry to your fingernail. I already measured this. I know it goes on my middle finger, and how I know that it fits my middle finger is I'm sure you won't be able to see in this video, but I'm going to hold this up to my finger. I'm going to curve it around to the curvature of my nail, and I'm going to look on both sides of my fingernail and make sure that I see a small sliver of nail. That assures me that my Jamberry is not sticking on my skin. Skin will cause the Jamberries to lift if they're on the skin because your skin produces oil. So I already know this measures perfectly for my middle finger. So that's the finger I'm going to apply it on today. I take my tweezers here. I'm going to try to do this at a good angle for you. And I'm just going to lift the backing off. Now don't want to touch the sticky part, the adhesive of the Jamberry, because you don't want any unnecessary oil on there either. And then I'm going to take my little scissors and I'm just going to cut my Jamberry to the length. If I can see that my fingernail, I'm probably going to need about clear down to here on my Jamberry. You don't even need, you can just cut them directly in half if you want without measuring. That's fine too. So I'm going to cut, if maybe I'm not left-handed. I don't know why well, I just lifted it all up. But I'm going to cut. I am definitely not left-handed. All right. So I've cut my Jamberry. Then I'm going to take my cuticle pusher. I'm not going to do anything with my cuticles right now because I already did. My cuticles are perfect. So I'm just going to put it on the end of my cuticle pusher for a better, easy handle of the Jamberry. Got my heater here. Forgot to tell you that you need a heater. You do not need a Jamberry heater. You can use a hair dryer. I've used a heat gun that I use for crafting. It's an embossing tool. You can also use a toaster. Don't stick it down the toaster, just hold it over the toaster as the lever is pushed down. And many things can heat this up. I've seen videos of ladies heating them up over a candle. So whatever method works best for you. So right before I apply my Jamberry, I'm going to give my fingernail another swipe with alcohol, because you never know if I've accidentally, I may have picked my nose without knowing. I may have scratched my face and gotten oil back on my fingernail. So again, I'm just going to give my fingernail a nice little swipe with the alcohol pad. So it's time to heat my Jamberry. When you heat your Jamberry to the point where they start to they become very flimsy. And you'll be able to see that they'll start flapping in the wind. I just turn this on so it takes a second or two to heat up. It only takes a couple seconds to heat up your Jamberry. You'll see it flapping. Let's turn it this way to see. And there it goes. You see it start flapping there. Then you know it's ready to put on your fingernail. So I'm going to get the top not on my cuticle, but I'm going to get it right below the cuticle. It's not touching or anything, but I don't want it so far out where it looks like I've already had growth. But I'm just going to place the tip close to the cuticle and take my index finger and just kind of push it down a little bit. This way it has a nice, it's anchored, and I can actually move the Jamberry if I need to. If it's on started to be on crooked, I can just kind of move it and maneuver it. So then I'm just going to smooth it down with my finger, take my rubber cuticle pusher, and just really put a lot of pressure on my Jamberry. The adhesive on Jamberries are heat and pressure activated. So you want lots of heat and lots of pressure. So once I have that nice and pressured on, I'm actually going to reheat my fingernail. And I'm going to apply tons of pressure again. So far I've heated twice. I've put pressure on my fingernail twice. What I want to do is get rid of all this extra Jamberry, all this extra material that you'll be able to, if you get rid of most of it as you can, then you'll have less filing to do. So I look underneath and I'm just going to take my cuticle or my clippers and just clip it off. Once this is completely cool, it's time to file. Do not file your Jamberry when it is still hot because there is a chance that it will lift. So take your file and you only want to file in a downward motion. You don't want to do side to side. You don't want to go up and down, but just in a downward motion. I always like to start at the center of my nail and work out to the edges. Again, in a 90-degree angle, downward motion. Like so. This is actually, you'll see it just be able to peel right off. It was actually stuck to my skin a little bit. So once it is all nice and filed, I'm going to wait. It's still cold. I'm going to take my buffer block and I'm going just to buff it at a 45-degree angle. I find that it helps smooth it out a little bit more than a coarse file, and I also feel that it takes less chances of lifting as well. So 45-degree angle, I'm going to buff. And then one last time, I'm going to heat it. So get it nice and hot. So it feels like your finger's on fire. Not really, but. And then I'm just going to apply pressure, just like so. And I'm very happy with my application. And then I'm off to the next fingernail. Or while this one's cooling before you file it, you can do another nail and then come back to it and file it. You will get into a rhythm. Right now it takes me about a half hour to do my nails, and that is prepping, clear up to finishing just like so. Other videos you can watch. This is just the application techniques that work for me. These are the basic techniques. There are other techniques like the baggie method and a rice bag method. There's a cold application. You can find these all on YouTube. What I did when I first started out was watch several different YouTube Jamberry application videos and kind of pick my own techniques here or there. This is a technique I use, and I have awesome Jamacures 99% of the time. So I hope you ladies found this part of the video very helpful. And next up is how to remove them. All right, so we have our Jamberries. They've been on for 2 weeks or so. Typically, mine are only on for a good 7, maybe 10 days because I'm so anxious to get my next set on. So it's time to take them off. I have my wonderful Walmart brand vegetable oil. What takes off Jamberries? Oil does. Skin oil, vegetable oil. You can use canola oil, extra virgin olive oil, Crisco, whatever you want. I also have a little shot glass, or say a rather tall shot glass to put my oil in, and then I have a toothpick flosser. These are the only 3 things that I use to take off my Jamberries. It takes me about 5 minutes to take off all 10 of them. What I'm going to do, pour me a little bit of vegetable oil in there. And then I want to break the seal off of my Jamberry. That way, it's a watertight seal right now. As you saw me apply them, very watertight. There's nothing that got under there. So I need to break it so the oil can get under there and work its magic and break off the adhesive. So I'm just going to take the actual toothpick part to my flosser and just kind of break the seal a little bit on the top. And I only did it just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is dip my finger in the oil. I'm going to work that oil in, excuse me. And then I'm going to take my flosser part and I'm just going to dip it in the oil, shake it off to the point where it has a little bit of oil on the tip. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to slide it underneath of the part that's already broken the seal. And I'm just going to floss. Back and forth, sawing motion, and you'll see it's coming right off. Some Jamberries are easier to take off than others. Metallic ones I find, or the glittery ones I find a little bit more difficult to take off. You'll see it's just going to fall off here. Voila! All finished. Sometimes you'll see that it is damage-free, perhaps. Damage-free fingernail. So the metallics, a lot of times with the glittery ones, there will be a silver residue that's left on your fingernail. Fingernail polish remover takes that right off. Sometimes the longer you have your jams on, there will be that residue, clear sticky residue on there after you've taken them off. Fingernail polish takes them right off. That's the easiest way that I can tell you to take off your jams. And damage-free. You just don't want to rip off your jams because that adhesive, it can be pretty strong and it can rip the top layer or so off your fingernail bed and then ruin your fingernails. So that's it, ladies. I hope you found this series of videos helpful. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, call me, Facebook message me, or anything, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And if I don't know the question, I promise you I will find out and then I will get back to you. Ladies, happy application, and I can't wait to see your Jamicures. Bye, ladies.